What's up, guys? It is Tat the Game here today, and today's video is going to be of some Delta Force Hawkops, where we're going to talk about some of the opinions about the game, and other things, and some of the things that are coming in the future of Delta Force. And no further ado, let's get into the video. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the Battlefield community's content creators' opinions. I do have some concerns, but don't get me wrong, I do play Battlefield. I do like the content creators for it, but I do have some concerns. One of them being is like having the wrong expectations for Delta Force Hawkops. Now, as you know, guys, they had a little test with people who were able to get into the game and play it, I think in Europe and Asia as well. There was supposed to be a big alpha test on the 18th, but they got delayed to the August, I believe, 6th. But I do subscribe people to go try that out when it does come out on PC to feel the game for yourself and make your own opinion on that. Now, one of the things I started noticing from the opinions of some of the content creators from Battlefield is that they went on this thing where it felt like they were trying to start some controversy. Now, I'm not saying they really were, but I just felt like they were when it came down to the UI elements and some of the similarities between 2042 and Delta Force. But like at the end of their videos or in their videos, they'll say like, well, I don't really care. I really enjoy this. It seems like this would be a game for me. Now, in my head, I was like, why even bring this conversation up or make these critiques if you don't really care? Now, they are good, valid critiques. There's no deny about it. The game does seem very similar to other Battlefield games and Call of Duty. There is no doubt about that. But I felt like that critique, or just even mentioning it in the videos that they were mentioning it, to just say, I don't really care. It just seems a lot of fun. I'm like, well, if that's what really matters, then that should just matter. It doesn't even mean you don't even need to mention those critiques between games at all. But also another concern, just calling this game, oh, it's the next Battlefield, it's competition between Battlefield and Delta Force. I'm gonna keep it a stack. As much similarities that it's have, I just don't think it's Battlefield. I don't think it will ever top EA. It would have to be doing so much more what EA is doing right now with the current Battlefield, or even past Battlefields, in that fact. So just to call Delta Force a Battlefield killer, I truly do not believe it is a Battlefield killer. I remember this whole thing between like Battlefield 2042 and BattleBit being the thing where it said that BattleBit was going to kill Battlefield 2042, and that was not true at all. Like, if you look at the player count between the two, it did not go anywhere, to be honest with you. It stayed where it is right now. I believe it's like 2,000 at the moment, while like 2042 is like at like 7 to 15,000 per day, almost every day, and that's not even counting the weekends. So saying that it's a Battlefield killer, it's not even remotely close. But now, the next subject about the hero shooter and the abilities and stuff like that, my opinion on this is that when it comes down to this type of game like Delta Force, I don't look at those abilities as abilities. When I hear someone or play a game that has abilities, I'm thinking like powers and stuff like that. I look at these are just gadgets that are just tied to specifically to that person. I understand that might be an ability and they might state it as an ability. I'd rather it just be a gadget than be called an ability, because it doesn't work the same way as like other hero shooters, or like Overwatch, for instance. Is like they have powers and stuff like that. It just doesn't work the same. And I also understand people don't like hero shooters like that. But to be honest with you, those games are popular for a reason. A lot of people will always say like there's so many of those games, but if you really look into that, if you really look how many hero shooters out there, there's not that many, especially not on console. There's really not that many. But I understand if you don't like those type of things, like a character having a specific thing tied to them when you can be using it for other characters and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, Battlefield is somewhat like that. Even the older Battlefields, like you had different classes that had different types of gadgets that were tied to that class. And I understand people will say, well, those are classes, but they're still tied to a person. Like the assault class had a dude to it. It was tied to him specifically. Like he had different gadgets that he couldn't use for the engineer class or the recon class or the medic class. It's just, that was a thing back then. Like, if you really think about it, it's really no difference between this and that, other than the fact that there's no timer behind it, or different characters that each have different like gadgets to them that is tied to them. I understand that, but for me, it's really not that big of a deal. I think a lot of people just kind of go overboard with the whole ability thing. I don't think it's gonna really do anything to the gameplay so much. I didn't see the gameplay I did see on other channels. It didn't really like do anything overpowered or anything. I didn't see none of that, but and also people just saying that the specialists in this game are just like the ones in 2042. They're not. They don't even remotely look nor even play like 2042. Like the gameplay is completely different from what I see on. It's like it's nowhere the same. It's like you got all different types of animations and stuff like this. Even how their gadget works, like people like compared like the health gun, it doesn't even operate like how I think it's Flax health gun does. It doesn't even operate the same way. Now they still have classes tied to the characters, so you still have an engineer, a medic, a recon, and an assault. Like that, it's there, and you can use these characters or these classes tied with the characters to use them for those things. They have different gadgets they can use. You have engineer with rockets and stuff. Like they have the building blocks of Battlefield while still giving you somewhat of a realistic feel as well. I do understand some people say it looks arcadey, but I think that's the whole point of like bringing back Delta Force in a more arcadey way for it to be more inviting to, you know, a much broader audience. And I understand some people don't like that, but like the whole realistic game thing is a very niche community. But it may be big, but I don't think it's big enough to compete with other games. It's just not. It's not going to be able to compete with Battlefield if it's trying to be the most realistic game out there. It's just not going to be able to do that. But for the next subject I want to talk about, which is be the last one I'm going to talk about, is some of the things that the developer had talked about. And I'm not going to show on screen like every question. I'm just going to talk about some of the things that were said. One of the things were asked during their Q&A was like, you know, the removal of like abilities and stuff like that. I don't need to know if that was from my question, because I did ask the question that same day they had the Q&A. I don't know if that's for me or someone else, but they did address this, that they said, you know, go out and try them out first before, like, you know, they did say that they do give off a tactical advantage, so they want you to enjoy the, you know, specialists before, you know, making us try to make them like remove it. You know, they think it's a pinnacle to the game, so you know, I trust them enough to like try it out and understand if it's actually helpful in the game. Now, another question that was brought up was about the cosmetics for the game. Will they still retain their realistic, you know, features? And they said yes, that they're not gonna go like crazy and stuff. That like they said that it wouldn't fit into the like what the game is and how the game plays and stuff like that, which is a good thing. I think some games do take it a little too far with the cosmetics sometimes. It's okay here and there, but some games, you know, like Call of Duty, sometimes Battlefield gets a little wacky out there, but I don't mind it so much. It doesn't bother me too much, but I understand, you know, the goal is to stay, you know, within that realm of what the game is and everything, which is a good thing, by the way. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before ending the video is about the content, how fast the content is coming, and also why jets are not in the game just yet. Now, from what the head developer had said, that the content will be coming every 1 to 3 months. I don't know if he misspoke, but he said that the season 4 is already done, almost done. So I'm guessing they're already like they worked on the prior seasons already. So can't wait to see what they got cooking. Now for the jets, he said that they hadn't just got to it yet, so this is probably some of the things they're going to work on later down the line. But I do hope the game is successful, and I hope it does bring a lot to for the Battlefield community and newer players as well. Now, I do want y'all to let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button and a notification bell when you see my content and live streams. And it is Tap the Game here, and I'm out. Peace.